we're going to start out with the Harden trade in the NBA. We had a bit of a blockbuster.
Yeah.
Forming of another NBA super team. But first, we're going to start off with what the Rockets were asking for from some of the other teams.
Yeah, so from the supposedly from the 76ers, they asked for Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey, and also Matisse Thybulle, reportedly. That we don't know about Thybulle, but apparently. And then also picks and swaps.
Honestly, for the Sixers, I don't think this would be good for them.
No, it wouldn't. I think they were asking for too much. But for, without Maxey or Thybulle, I think it might have been worth it because he would have worked well with Embiid, in my opinion.
Yeah, especially because of all the rumors about Simmons and Embiid not working together. And we've seen in the past few years, all the years that they've been together, they've gotten to a certain point, like first round of the playoffs last year, Simmons was out, but disregard that. Like any of the seasons, they haven't really been able to get anything going in the playoffs.
Yeah, there was that report of the Eastern Conference executive that said Ben Simmons hasn't improved since his rookie season. And that's kind of true because he hasn't made strides defensively, but he still doesn't offer anything in terms of spacing. And that's what hurts them in the playoffs because they can just set
the
up
defense can stay compact and not really worry
about. They don't have to defend
shooting.
the perimeter at all when Simmons is out there.
So if they had Harden, that just eliminate that. And then usually Embiid is double teamed.
Yeah, and that would open up the floor for Embiid.
Double teamed, so you can't do that. And they'd have a pretty good pick and roll. They allow them to have spacing and everything else. And they're also
They could also have
drawing fouls.
They could also have pick and pops with Embiid because he also has the ability to shoot from deep.
Yeah.
Sixers are at a tough place right now, though. Despite their record right now, they're doing all right. 9-4 currently, second in the conference. Celtics haven't played as many games as them because of COVID and all that.
And two of those losses were when they were pushed to only 8 players, which a lot of Sixers fans are mad about. And I can kind of agree with them on that.
Yeah, I don't really think those games should have been played if you only have 3 or 4 subs.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see that. The NFL had problems with that. NBA's right there with them. The NHL's NHL opened up 2 days ago. They're starting to go strong right now, but they're definitely going to run into those certain problems. Although they do have bubbles.
The biggest problem, though, is MLB and NFL rosters have a lot more people. And they also play outside, but literally the NBA is a closed environment, and there's only 15 players on a roster.
You have way less room for error
exactly
in this.
And obviously, as we saw from George Hill's conference and opinion, we talked about COVID, none of the players actually really care or respect the rules that much.
Yeah.
They don't want to go back into a bubble either, which I think that's totally off the table unless you do regional bubbles. But if they wanted to go back into the Orlando bubble or something like that, the players would not do that.
You would see the majority of the players opting out because they know what the toll is and they know how much it would affect them to miss their family for that amount of time again.
Yeah.
They're just even in the bubble last year, you had Lou Williams going to strip clubs, getting outside the bubble.
Ordering hot wings.
You mean no wings? Yeah.
Yeah, to get wings, sorry. But, honestly, the players are, even if they did go into the bubble, they're going to try to get out and things are still going to happen. Now, the bubble was effective despite the flaws.
It was very effective, but then it was also only the playoff teams.
Yeah. And I think
most of the game because they obviously played 8 games and then it was just playoff teams.
If you put the whole entire league in there, it's just not going to happen. And with half the league's already gone through it, and they didn't like it.
It was only a month and a half and people were complaining like crazy. So
yeah, so back to the Sixers.
Yeah,
let's get back on topic. The Sixers, not a good package, I think.
I agree with them on that.
Yeah, I don't think that the Sixers should pull the trigger. They didn't. I think they made the good move there. Right now, they're off to a good roll here. I'd still want to see what's happening here. I wouldn't break it up, but I'd give it another year. I just don't see. I don't know.
They're clearly willing to trade them.
Yeah, I don't know the direction that they should go in right now, because there's just
because Embiid can only do so much, and then
there's just so much questions, and the cap space is still a problem, even with getting rid of Al Horford. That's still a big problem. Tobias Harris is playing well.
Yeah, he is.
He's playing well. Unlike last season where he's just kind of
they have a good record right now.
Yeah.
Usually the playoffs would they encounter problems.
So the next team that they were also thinking about was the Boston Celtics.
And from Boston, they're asking was Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, and multiple first-round picks. And that is just outrageous, really.
Yeah. The Celtics right now, the best thing for them to do is to keep their two main centerpieces. This is their future.
Especially on defense with Brown and Smart.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum should be untouchable at this point. You've gone too far. Now, if you would tell me 2 years ago, Jaylen Brown for James Harden, I would think about it, right?
Yeah.
And some picks and all that. I'd think maybe that's a good deal because Brown didn't develop to what he is now. But now that you've waited so long and you can see what Jaylen Brown is, and he's playing great right now, to be honest.
I'd argue that he's outplaying Tatum at the moment.
Yeah, me too. I think he's more conscious with his shots.
Obviously he's going to dip back
better
up,
shots.
But right now he's shooting really crazy efficient from like mid-range and everywhere.
Tatum thinks he's that type of superstar, and what annoys me so much with Tatum is that he takes those superstar shots, those Kobe shots and all that. He wants to be that, and he's only like 22 right now.
22.
He's not far off of being able to make those shots, but he's not at the level to be able to make them yet. In time, it would be fine to see him take those shots, but he's trying to rush the process.
He does make some of them, and you will. If you take a lot of them, you're going to make some of them. And they're going to be big highlights, like the first game of the season where he had
against the Bucks.
But every single time he takes one of those shots, you always see that if it's like a 2-point game and they go for the tie, or even if he wants to go for the win with a 3, there's always a better shot there. I feel like he just always just ISOs it and waits, and he'll take a step back.
Especially because we know like Brad's capable of drawing up a better play.
Exactly. I think that is bad coaching on Brad's part, and you know he's usually a pretty good coach, but he's shown flaws in
I guess he's just trying to empower Tatum or something.
Yeah, and the bubble with the zone defense thing that gave up the Raptors shot, that was very bad coaching. The Tatum shots, they just let him kind of fly. Yeah, and those have all been flaws that I've seen in Stevens' coaching.
It seemed like he hasn't really been drawing up a play. He's just been saying, everyone space the floor, Tatum run an ISO, try and find a shot and make something happen.
Yeah.
It just hasn't been working.
Yeah. Once again, to like the 2-year thing, I definitely would have done it because Jaylen Brown's first big jump was last season when he went from like 14 points to 20. And this season, you take another jump because his shot creation, his dribbling, and his awareness have gone a lot better once again. But last season was the first big jump. So 2 years ago, that'd obviously be a lot easier trade to make. But as of right now, he's literally, him and Tatum are the team's center duo.
Definitely.
And they're both so young. So I definitely wouldn't want to break that up. Then Marcus Smart is obviously known as the
heart and soul
of the team. Exactly. And he works so hard, and he's literally the identity of Celtics. He's the longest tenured, and in the past, Danny has been infamously refusing to include him in any trades. So obviously that's why
I think
Celtics
giving him up that locker room would be very divided about a trade involving Marcus Smart leaving the team.
And this isn't really like the Kyrie trade would have. Like, the Kyrie trade happened, and everybody was kind of sad that IT went, and IT's a great player, all that, but he got injured, and we knew he had an injury. And
it was very good value for what we gave
Exactly. We gave up basically Jay Crowder, a first-round pick, which turned into Colin Sexton, and IT. And really, those pieces were expendable at that point, and Danny knew that. And we got Kyrie, and it turned out bad, but if we had to do it again,
it showed a lot of signs of promise.
Yeah, if we had to do it again, it was probably still the right move to make.
Especially seeing how much IT fell off after his injuries.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate.
This trade, if it were to go through Brown for Harden, I just think you're pulling in another Kyrie, but you're giving up way too much. Way too much. Because Harden, as I've said,
31. Kyrie was only like 25.
He's older. He's just as toxic in the locker room.
Exactly.
And I just don't see it working out well.
As I said in the past podcast, Harden is a huge cancer, and he's acted like a huge cancer this whole entire offseason and going into the preseason.
As we saw from DeMarcus Cousins' statements in the press
and
when asked
about DeMarcus Cousins is not like the greatest guy, and
he's not a great leader either.
It should show you how bad James Harden has been acting for DeMarcus Cousins. And I like Boogie. I'm a fan of his. But I admit that a-hole at times. But honestly,
If he's the one saying it.
Yeah.
That means a lot. So, well, I mean, beyond the locker room, I think just playing style. Like Kyrie was willing to play off ball and stuff at times, but I mean, Harden's only won ISOs for the last 7-8 years.
And I think it would really halt the development of Jason Tatum to bring Harden in, because Harden's going to take all so much
shots.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown and Jaylen Tatum were already suffering from the lack of shots with Kyrie was there. And Kyrie only took 18, 19 shots a game, which is obviously a lot.
And
but
Kyrie
Harden
did look
takes
to
over 20.
create,
so
and Kyrie looked to create shots and pass the ball off way more than Harden.
How the shot distribution is going to work in Brooklyn is going to be.
It's just going to be a dribble off.
Yeah, and the players that are now around Harden, Kyrie, and Durant are not the most ideal.
Before we get into the situation with the actual trade that went through, though, we have one more team that we had reported asking prices on. It was Miami.
Yeah.
The Rockets were reportedly asking for Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Precious Achiuwa, Kendrick Nunn, salary filler, 2 first-round picks, and 4 pick swaps. And Miami was obviously not interested.
Miami's just going to say
no. We're not Miami fans, so we're not crazy high on Hero as crazy as they are, because I mean they've been known to overvalue
I like
their
Hero
players, but
I'd overhype him.
It just doesn't make sense because obviously the trade that the Nets accepted. Obviously they gave up Allen, but obviously they went to a third party. But they only really gave up LeVert, and here they're giving up only two less first round picks, the same amount of swaps. But then you also give away Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Kendrick Nunn, all of which are more established in the league and have shown capabilities of scoring
potential.
15 points a game easy.
Yeah, I mean, Hero and Robinson are kind of that, Butler's there obviously as a scorer, but pure scorers that we're looking at right now, Duncan Robinson is their 3-point life.
Yeah.
There. And Hero right now is developing very, very good. I like
Hero's
him
in
a
bit
lot.
of a slump at the moment, not turning out the numbers he was turning out in the bubble, but he's still putting out pretty good numbers.
Yeah, he's putting out good numbers. He's
gotten better
night to night, but still a pretty good player. And I mean, he's
just got to work on consistency.
Yeah, and basically what the Heat are giving up here is their future and guys that helped them get to the NBA title last year. I mean, without these guys, and you're giving up Precious too, who's your pick this this year. And then what was it? 4 pick swaps?
Yeah, 4 pick swaps.
So you're giving
first rounders.
4 picks, basically 6 picks, technically. You'll get the other pick from the other team, but generally that will be a better pick because you're going to get the worst one. You know what I mean? But this would give up the Heat's future. It's bad. It's bad for the Heat.
It makes sense why they didn't accept it.
Yeah, for the Rockets, I like
trade.
the Brooklyn deal maybe a little bit better because of the more picks, but they're on even footing for me.
I feel like player-wise, I think theirs might be better because obviously Hero, Nunn, and Robinson have already shown signs of panning out compared to just picks that haven't, obviously, you don't know who they are. You don't know what selection they are in the draft, how high, how low. But yeah, it's around the same, especially because the Rockets aren't trying to compete. I mean, they're trying to contend too, but they're not going all in for competing with young guys. They're also trying to rebuild too. They have competitive players, but they're also ready for it to blow up. Because they're all John Wall, Marcus Cousins. They're all in their primes.
Yeah.
So
I definitely think that the Heat deal was better player wise. 100%.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
100%. But the Brooklyn deal, I feel that deal with that many picks for Houston, I don't think anybody could really match that.
They still got a pretty good haul out of it, but it was compared to the other things they were asking for, it was a lot less.
Yeah,
in terms of value, especially players wise.
Also, I think this trade was thrown out probably by Houston. Pat Riley's way too smart and good of a GM to throw away his future like that.
No, especially because there's also
way too good.
The only reason I think the Heat would only go for it if they knew it would work out 100%. There's obviously questions about how he would work with that Heat team. Harden.
Especially
with Jimmy Butler.
Especially putting him in Miami with his tendency to experience the nightlife.
Oh, 100%. And it's two players that you would be pairing that are on the opposite of the spectrum. You got Jimmy Butler, who's the hardest worker out there, one of the hardest workers in the NBA. He tolerates no bull at all.
And zero laziness, which is Harden.
And everything that Jimmy Butler stands against is James Harden. James Harden is
Maybe
him
not
personified.
Everything, because at least he shows up to games.
Yeah. But I mean,
yeah,
it's just bad. And then you got now them coming into Brooklyn. You got Harden and Kyrie, who are virtually the same person, but they hate each other. So it's bound to explode at one point.
I think the upside that the Nets are looking at is reuniting KD and Harden from their time in Oklahoma City. Obviously, that was a very electric duo. They worked really well together. And I think, obviously, Durant would have had a say saying, hey, if you have an opportunity to bring Harden in here, I would be extremely...
Yeah, reportedly, Kevin Durant was excited about it. But I mean, in Oklahoma was a different dynamic because James Harden was their sixth man.
They were different players at the time.
Yeah,
Kevin Durant
too much time's going by.
Yeah, Kevin Durant was already a scoring champion and superstar player, but James Harden was their sixth man. Very talented, but
which they valued Serge Ibaka more than Harden at that point.